come here for a sabbatical or Fulbright, etc., will find it quite exciting.
So Rohit, you mentioned already the cultural challenges. And that's not only a thing for building a business or going abroad. It's also a personal matter. And so I wonder a little bit, you moved from the United States to Hanoi in Vietnam. That's a really big move. When you mentioned that to your family at home, what was the first reaction?
You know, it's a very important question. I think anybody getting into a project like this should definitely think about. In our case, although it was not that big a change, because as I mentioned earlier, I got involved in this project from mid 2016. So it didn't come as a complete shock to anybody, including myself. So when I was asked to take this role as the provost and come here, of course, I was very grateful for this opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for myself. My first thought right after that was exactly what you asked, Werner. How about my family? And fortunately for us, both my children were graduating from college, one after a master's degree, one with an undergraduate. So we knew that for next 2-3 years, they will be very focused on building their career and they will not be in Ithaca with us. My wife, along with myself, works for Cornell, used to work for Cornell at the time. When I got this opportunity, I asked my Vietnamese colleagues that, I cannot move myself because I have a family and my spouse needs her own professional career here. And the response was that, well, we are creating a brand new university. Anybody who has high-level university experience, I'm sure we can find appropriate opportunity for them. And so therefore, we just said, you know what, this is the point in our life where kids are moving out. Let's go.
So who is more excited about Vietnam, you or your wife?
I think we are both excited for different reasons. I think she currently, due to COVID, she is back in US. But I think she came here. She made a lot of friends in our university community, and she's very excited about the cultural aspect, exploring the country, and I tag along with her on that aspect. I'm very focused on what I do. And I think it's a good partnership to be able to do this together at this stage in our life.
When you think back, when you try to plan it, I know it's a long process, but especially from a private perspective, what was for you the biggest hurdle? Do you say, wow, a move like that, going as a family completely to Vietnam for a significant time? What was the biggest one? What do you think? What comes in your mind?
I think the family is the first one. The thought that we will be moving to another side of the globe where the two children will be on the other side. I think that was probably the biggest concern right in the beginning. I think maybe more for my wife than myself, since I have been traveling quite a bit during the last several years. But for both of us, that was the biggest issue. Second is that, this is a longer term move. I'll be here for a few years at least, which means you have to get all your affairs in order. We had to think about our taxes and our, what do we do our house, where do we store our things and so on. So many details like that had to be taken care of. And fortunately, we had 6 months. So I got asked to do this job, and I was supposed to start in July, but I got asked to do this in January of 2019. So we took the time to do proper arrangements during that time.
Yeah. How is the daily life in Hanoi? Especially, I can imagine it's not only culture, it's also language or something else. How do you communicate?
Yeah, so Vietnamese language, I'm learning. I'm still learning. Both my wife and I actually, we take classes with one of our colleagues here 3 days a week. But we have Google Translate.
Oh, that works.
And Duolingo. These are helpful. And I have also found another help. I have phone numbers of several of my colleagues saved on this.
Okay.
And so they have gotten used to this, that sometime suddenly I will call them and say, here, I'm at a shop, please help.
So how good does Google Translate work? What is better, Google Translate or the colleague that you need to get?
Google Translate is actually pretty good. I think it can, it can take care of most of the simple conversation things you may want to have. But if you need to, let's say, negotiate or ask some detailed question, then of course a colleague can help. But to your other point, life is actually very easy and simple in Southeast Asia. I have a chance to visit a few other places around here as well. Yeah. People are very open-minded. They are willing to help. This is a well-traveled area. They are used to tourists now, and they welcome people. So I think in terms of getting help, it's not that hard. What is different though, in Vietnam, there are lots of motorbikes. Everybody's on a motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
And you see people carrying everything on motorcycle, the entire families, the whole nursery, chicken, eggs, you just name it. Yeah. So the roads and city, they look different than what you would imagine in US, but it's exciting.
You said already that you had experience with Southeast Asia, you traveled there a lot, you have some experience, let's say, first remotely throughout the negotiations with the university. So what is this one thing that when you now look back, that you didn't know about Southeast Asia, that you learned was remarkable for you, that something really new for you? Also, you had experience before. Is there anything that in your mind that you wonder, oh yeah, that was an epiphany for me, that I had no idea?
One thing. I'll have to give it some thought, but actually there are quite a few things. So first, Werner, you may know I grew up in India, and then I moved to United States about 30 years ago. So one realization I had was about actually some basic similarity between the culture from India to Vietnam to many other regions. Here in Vietnam, many people follow some version of Buddhist faith. Yeah. And Buddhism came to Vietnam from the top, from China, and then from the bottom, from Southeast Asia, directly from India. So I do see actually some similarities between some of the basic values. For example, in India, if somebody buys a new house or a new car, they typically do some type of a prayer or offering to the gods. And I was quite surprised that something similar is being practiced here. This is just one simple example. And I can see many, many similar things like that. So that was something I did not know. Because while Vietnam is in Southeast Asia, people's attire is very Western.
So it's maybe just to understand you right. So it feels a little bit more home than you expected, or at least it reminds you on some things.
Many aspects remind of my the time I grew up in India. For example, I'll give you something very simple. There are mango trees everywhere. There are 2 mango trees in my house, which I'm renting right now. I grew up eating mangoes, from our own orchard back home. And now, of course, in US, we get mangoes from South America or Mexico. Here, I had never imagined I'll just pluck mango from my own tree.
So it's very interesting to see how much challenges and how much fun it is to dive into a new environment. And I could ask you all kinds of questions. Let's do that in a little game. People who watch this show on a regular basis know I always have a small game at the end. So I'll ask you some very simple questions and you give me quick answers to that. And this way we can even get a better perspective on what the challenge here was and who you are. Okay. Thank you. So can we do that?
Sounds good. Go for it.
Good. The first one is, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt if you would have the chance?
Astronaut.
Astronaut. Okay, wonderful. Great. What was your first sentences that you learned in Vietnamese?
The first word I learned was Xin Chào.
And means what?
That means hello.
Hello, Xin Chào. Okay.
And I'm working on the other. So, but we start with hello.
What do you miss the most from the US?
Uh, well, quite a few things. I lived there 30 years, so it's a completely different environment. I do miss my friends there. I do miss the the sense of a familiarity. As I mentioned earlier, I'm still learning the language, and of course, everybody is very friendly and very nice. But I am still not grounded here on a daily basis. Well, many Netflix and Amazon Prime shows are not available here because I'm not in the same geographical region. So, when I watch all episodes of any Star Trek shows, and last year Star Trek Picard, came online, and I cannot watch it here. So I have to wait till I am physically in US. So
You should ask your new cohort in Vietnam in the fall, and they will explain you what a VPN is. And because everyone in Asia knows what a VPN is, and I think we can say that it's a YouTube show. You find that very, very simple. Figure it out, and then we solve that.
I'll work on that. Yes.
Yeah, good, wonderful. So, what is your favorite dish in Hanoi?
You know, let me answer this way. I think fruits and vegetables and fish here are unbelievable. Lots of fresh fruits, fresh green vegetables, and of course, close to water body, they're great. So any preparation, including these, are wonderful. And so that's one thing I've noticed. I have had almost no junk food in last 1 year.
You're in the middle of a journey, like I said before. But is there one thing that you learned about yourself on this journey already that you didn't know before you started that journey here with the university?
Oh. Well, I think one thing I did learn about myself was that I was not taking good care of myself before coming here. So by being away, everybody has their routine life, and you start getting into a certain rhythm of things. By coming here, changing, I got a chance to connect with people again. So I have started playing tennis again regularly. I'm able to go for exercise, work out more often. I started yoga thanks to my wife. And these things I had not, although I was always active in sports, but for last at least a decade, I had lost all that. And so I have rediscovered that part of my life, which was great. Hello.
When there will be some point in time when you will go back to, yes, pretty likely to Cornell. So what is this one thing that you don't want to miss anymore? What you will bring from Vietnam back home?
What I hope is that I don't miss all the friendship and connections I made here, honestly. That's the part which I don't want to leave. People here are unbelievable. They are my friends. They are almost like my family now. And this is a very young university. We have several people who are in their 20s and 30s and 40s, both faculty and staff. They have young children. They come to campus, and I'm connected with all of them on Facebook. I see them. Yeah. So I hope I can maintain that even after I leave.
So Rohit, it's interesting to see how this story unfolds, and I know that you are right in the middle of it. You're starting with the semester now in the next fall, but it's your story. And other people cannot start a university in Vietnam, so they might do something else. The big question is, should people do that? Should they look for something outside of the ordinary? Is that something worthwhile to do? How is your evaluation? Do you think that is something that people should strive for? Is just a coincidence in your case, and you're happy to have it, and other people don't need it?
I think it's a very important point you raise, Werner, and I thank you for doing that. I think in academic career in many ways is a privilege. We get chance to share the knowledge we have with other young people so they can be future leaders. That's a wonderful thing for a gift in a way we all have, which we can part to other people. We also have this unique opportunity to create new knowledge by our research and outreach and so on. And I think early in our career, I believe that all of us should focus on really getting good at these things because it allows us to become experts and get some knowledge. However, as we grow in our career, I believe at least some of us have to think beyond our own personal teaching and research interests because institutions of higher learning are the sanctuary which provide other scholars this opportunity to do their good research and good teaching. So unless some senior scholars step up and then help create institutions, it will not happen. So now that does not mean that everybody has to start a new university. No, I think all of us should think about what creative things we can do to help not just our own department, perhaps our school, maybe something different. And this is not an either or question. I think it should be something which builds on their own professional career. So you mentioned healthy futures earlier. I'll just give a simple example. When we created the Institute for Healthy Futures at Cornell, that was an opportunity to go out of my home school, School of Hotel Administration, to the design program, the health administration program, and we were able to bring faculty together to create this transdisciplinary center. That was one of the most exciting things I had ever done up to that point of time. It opened my own eyes. I got to know about new disciplines, etc. So I think everybody should think about that in their own way, how they can do something new or different and just add more to the institutions we are part of.
So Rohit, that is a noble call, but could there be any negative side effects? So things could backfire. So for instance, when I do a project outside of the university, I might not have so much time to do service within the university. We need to, at some point, also be realistic. We are publishing a lot. Research is important. But if you do a big project outside, you might not produce so many papers than you usually do. So where do you see signs of where things could backfire? Where things could be, let's say, slightly dangerous or maybe disfortunate or not good for you when you're taking on these kind of projects?
Again, another great question. I think the key is so the first thing anyone should do is not just take on a project which does not fit their interest. So let's say I'll give maybe your example. I know you are very interested in technology related issues with services, let's say, very broad generalization of your field. But if you were to take a project which has nothing to do with this area, it'll be a huge setup cost for you. And I would never advise you to do something like this. However, if you were to take a project which is aligned with your professional interests, and if you say that I'm going to only dedicate this small percent of time on that, then I think it's doable. See, all of us as a research scholar, we know that we work on multiple papers. You see, so let's say I may have 5 or 6 papers going on. That does not mean that I have to optimize my own time, make trade-offs. So just think of this as one more paper, if you will. And just like you dedicate a little bit of time, and if it takes off, then slowly we dedicate more time towards it. But start slow. That's the first. Second is that, as we go into our academic career, we get asked to take many service roles at university. I think we should be mindful. Let's not take service roles which are just taking time and not adding any value. Service scholars, we all know we should think about adding value. Stop being into the committees which are just waste of time. And I think it's better to say upfront that, I'm sorry, this is not a place for me, to whosoever the superior is. But then come up with some ideas. And I think people will appreciate that. The colleagues will appreciate that, and they will be helpful in time.
Very briefly, there's this call more and more scholars in our community that service scholars should use their time to change, in a way, I would say, change the world and do an impact on society. And I think what you said before reminded me about that. So what do you see from your perspective here are realistic approaches? What are things that come into your mind that people could do to follow this kind of mission? Anything that besides what you are doing, not everyone has a chance to found a university.
So I think, given that we are living in a pandemic world and
Yeah.
soon hopefully we'll emerge from it, I think service scholars can do many different things. I think first of all, fundamentally, many aspects of our life will change. So there's quite a bit of scholarly work that could be done. That's the first of all. Second is that, we all work at universities, many of us do. Uh, we can rethink our programs, our curriculum, but I would say we should think beyond curriculum. Many of us will be experts in teaching online, but as we all know, university education is more than just classroom. I think as a service scholar, we have a sense of how individuals connect with each other, how one person can help each other. We can use that mindset to rethink how in the outside classroom environment, which is very common in a traditional university, can be recreated for a hybrid or online forum. So creating new programs for student engagement, thinking about, how we create, I think those things will naturally be easier for service scholars to think about and contribute than somebody from, say, engineering or some other very technical field where they are maybe experts in their area, but not
Yeah.
in this domain. So that would be a good place to start. I would also say that, there are many organizations these days. We have healthcare organizations, airlines, all of them have to rethink how they need to offer their service in the post-pandemic world. Uh, Thinking about initiatives which are very specific to an industry or a community, from rethinking the service mindset for them, will be a worthwhile area to look at.
So for our audience, if you got already interested, how is life in Hanoi? I can tell you there's a great chance that you can experience that yourself, because maybe I've seen that already on the social media channels, but the next quiz conference will be right in Hanoi at Vin University. And Rohit, tell us a little bit, what would you miss if you don't make that happen and don't come to quiz 17? Let us know what to expect.
Oh, thank you, Werner. This is so exciting topic to talk about. Quiz was supposed to be at Yonsei University in Korea in 2021. And since Professor Sanmi Choi is coming here as our incoming dean, she is bringing quiz to Vin University with her. And of course, as you know, I have been involved with quiz for last decade or so. So when we thought about hosting quiz here, we said, we need to make it a little bit different and exciting. This will be the first quiz at a brand new university and at the brand new city, if you will. So we, along with our presentations, etc., we will have tours for all the cultural locations in Hanoi. We'll also get a chance to explore some of the new industries which are coming up around here. In fact, there's a whole beach city which has been created right next to campus. We'll have barbecue party there. That's where the dancing will happen this time. And Vietnam has several UNESCO World Heritage Sites. One of them is Halong Bay, which is about a couple of hours from our campus. So before and after the conference, we will organize many different opportunities for people to visit to those locations. It will be wonderful. I think, I would encourage people to come to quiz, but keep some free time before and after to not just explore Vietnam, but perhaps other parts of Southeast Asian region. And I hope that by then we would have found a cure for COVID-19 so we can all enjoy that together here in Hanoi.
We definitely need to have that. And you convinced me already, so I'm on board. I will come. I will do my best to make it happen and coming to Quiz 17. So Rohit, I'm thanking you for all the time that you invested here for this interview, for all your insights, for the interesting perspective, and giving us a glimpse into your work there at Vin University. So thank you very much for being at the show.
Thanks a lot, Werner. It was my pleasure. Look forward to meeting in person again soon.
And I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. I hope you liked this show and it gave you new perspectives and ideas what you can do. Please stay connected, and if you haven't done already, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next episode. Till then, see you in the next video.